Welcome back to another episode of Let's Hunt, the hunting podcast.
Hey, never mind.
What?
Let's try that again. How bad were you lagging?
You son of a bitch. I'll be back soon. I will be back.
Dave, your computer is slurring.
Dave, say hi.
Behind the scenes stuff. Move on. Move on.
It doesn't matter. We're streaming live to YouTube right now, so don't say anything your
Exactly.
mother wouldn't like.
That's what I'm saying. Move on. Move on.
Somebody else want to do the intro?
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Go Hunt, the hunting
we're not
podcast.
going live. We're not recording.
Oh,
There's no music. I just said we're still live to YouTube because I can't end it. Now are we gonna go or not?
Vince, you do the intro.
Oh, whatever.
Intro.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Let's Go Hunt, the hunting podcast that Instagram doesn't want you to know about. As always, we have Sam Alexander sneaking pocket beers into Dune 2, Mike Gonzalez, who's hunting some mild home improvements, Dave Packard, who is trying to have a road cracker. Oh, off-road cracker. Oops. And I'm Vince H. Poppin' Armadillos. Tonight, we're talking about canning hunting and canned hunting. Our esteemed guest from Dangerous Freedom and We Like Shooting, Shawn. How's it going, man?
Good. How's it going?
Who the hell wrote esteemed?
I did.
I don't
Dave.
know.
It was on me.
Yeah, if you fucking brown noser.
Dave's the only one here that knows how to use a word like esteemed.
Someone learned a new word and had to use it.
Yeah.
I don't even
I'm
know.
surprised it wasn't
I-
spelled
I had to-
E-S-T-E.
Why are you so hot, Shawn? That's what steamed means, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wait. That's racist. That's a racist thing because steamed rice. I'm white. Racist.
White rice.
So you're white rice. Steamed white rice. What's the problem?
Show title, steamed white rice.
We
I
don't
prefer
usually
fried
get one in the
rice.
first minute.
No, that's Hiroshima circa 1945.
Okay, second show title, Hiroshima rice.
Yeesh.
Why don't we just go with racist rice? That's our show title.
I mean, I think I've told you guys my dad had a printing press that was built in Hiroshima, and it was green, and we used to say it glowed.
Dang. But it actually did.
I mean, it probably did, but it was built in
It had the
50s.
souls
That place
of-
was still.
You think that the Prado has the soul of the lost Japanese woman in it? That printing press absolutely has the souls of thousands of lost Japanese souls in it.
Without question.
That makes me feel terrible now because it was taken to a scrapyard, which means those souls are now
Oof.
like dismembered and scattered across probably a whole bunch of like paperweights.
You soulless bastard.
Ouch.
It's probably just still there rusting.
It's called recycling.
Well, rust in peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
It got shipped over to China and turned into a car.
Ooh, it's a Tesla now.
Maybe it's my iPhone.
That explains.
So
the
what's up, boys?
self-driving.
How's it going?
I don't know.
Hey, Shawn, so we were kind of talking about it, and we kind of started the whole show basically because we wanted to help people get into hunting. And as someone who is very new to hunting, I wanted to bring you on and talk about your struggles and experiences with dealing with Colorado's nonsense, getting into it. And
I
so,
started the show to drink.
Exactly.
like, you needed an excuse. And
I'll take every excuse I can get because it makes me seem more legitimate than just sitting on my couch alone.
Exactly. Now you're
That's
sitting
fair.
on your couch with other people. Well, I guess you're not on a couch.
No, I'm in an office
it-
chair now. It's an upgrade.
Yeah.
doesn't it count if you're gaming and drinking beers with friends?
I don't game with people online because I hate online gaming.
Because you hate people.
Yeah.
Shawn, take it away.
No, I mean, you said it. You started the podcast to help people get started hunting, which is kind of appropriate because you guys, not Vince, helped me get into hunting. And
Yeah, Vince,
I haven't done it all.
Damn.
I like how I created in the side of this one being like, but I actually didn't do jack shit either.
no, I mean, so it was really good and really useful. And honestly, it's like now we kind of have our crew that we go hunting with most of the time, which is kind of great. So it really worked out. But yeah, getting started, because I didn't grow up, for people who don't know, which is probably everyone. I didn't grow up hunting. Like it wasn't the people in my family didn't hunt. I just was more interested in girls and Motley Crue. So I never really did any of that stuff. Wasn't really interested as I raised my family. And, now they're all late 20s, early 30s. And, I was like, I've always wanted to hunt. And so a few years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, one of my buddies, tried to take me antelope hunting. And it was a disaster. We never saw any animals at all. And I didn't really learn anything, but I still wanted to do it. I got my hunter's education card. And so when I kind of put out the call, you guys answered and started to show me the ropes and kind of teach me a little bit, because in Colorado, I don't know if it's like that everywhere. I feel like it's not, but it is super tough to get started. And maybe I just didn't try hard enough, because the stuff you guys described to me, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, like if you've never done it, if you don't have somebody to show you the ropes, it can be incredibly intimidating.
That's kind of how I started to look at it. It's kind of like a new pistol student. They don't know dick all about shooting a pistol, and the very, very basic things that they need to know, we take for granted sometimes, like which way the round goes in the magazine, even. So,
I mean, even HK gets that one wrong occasionally.
I mean, that's not necessarily limited to new hunters. I mean, if you grow up in an area where there's not public land or a whole lot of it, and you go somewhere where there is, it's like, wait, this is public land? I can go here and do things? And people are like, yeah. And you're like, that seems weird.
Yeah, it feels weird to trespass.
I usually have to
public
bribe
land.
somebody.
Yeah.
Well, that's a similar experience I had coming back from the first time I went hunting, which was sitting in a blind in Texas for 18 hours total looking for Outad that never showed up. Which is like, oh, I'm going to go back to, I got a little bit of a bug then, so I'm going to go back to Colorado and do hunt. And then I took one look at how to apply for tags. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that seems complicated. I'll worry about it next year. And then 10 years later.
Yeah.
You go pick up the big game guide from like wherever, like, I don't know, Sportsman's Warehouse or whatever. And you see this big map that has like all these different squiggly lines and different shading and a little bunch of little numbers. And it's like the entire state. You can clearly see that. And you're like, okay, like what the hell does that mean? Like, okay, I'm here in this dot that has left to right shading and, 0.1 millimeter lines, and it says, like 114. I don't know what the hell that means though. Like how do you figure that out? And that was really what you guys helped me overcome. And even now, like by no means am I good at this, but I'm a little bit more competent than I was a few years ago.
And for me, it was the preference points. The whole preference point and lottery system threw me for a loop, because I thought you just go out and do, I mean, this is like the Midwest thing, or in the South. You just go buy your big game license and they'll be like, hey, here's an elk tag, here's a deer tag, here's an everything else tag. Hey, we'll have fun. Instead, it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
You got to put in for points, but you got to put in for points, and certain units have certain other points that you require to draw. Oh, don't forget the over-the-counter units, though. It's like, okay, this is too complicated. I'm moving on with my life.
Yeah. I got charged today my $50 for my preference point for my Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep.
I got excited because I thought it was like all the preference points coming in, and they're like, oh, wait a minute. No, it's just the mountain goat and the bighorn sheep coming in first.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll get excited when I see the charge and I get the email saying I got a tag. Other than that,
well, I don't know what the hell I was excited for. I only applied for points pretty much this year.
Yeah.
How many points do you have so far for that?
Not enough.
5 or 6. Where, as I understand, you need like 20 or 30.
Yeah, bighorn sheep is going to be like, that's a. You might get that tag 20 years from now.
Yeah.
When we're all too old to go freaking, actually do it.
I have input on bighorn. So my boss, he's been putting in for 27 years now, and he's like, this year's the year, and he didn't draw the tag. Some
Dang.
guy with 7 weighted points drew it. He has 24 now. It's just the way the system works.
Yeah, because it's still lottery, even based on points, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It-
basically.
it's so weighted's a little different. Weighted is you get your order number, and then they transverse that number, and then they divide that number by how many weighted points you have, and then they start from the bottom and go up. There's only one tag in the unit that he's putting in for, so it's dependent completely on your order number, which is different every year. So if your order number ends in a 9 and it's transversed, then it starts with a 9, and then you get divided by 24, 25, or whatever it is, and then work. That's my understanding of weighted points.
What
So, yeah,
lunatic
he's
came up with this?
Pissed.
Whoever invented Common Core.
I think this predates
The-
Common Core. We should have asked your brother about this last week. Say, okay, so what kind of special person came up with this whole weighted point system?
He's my
Yeah.
brother. The answer would be the same.
So my order number ended with a 2.
Oh yeah, so you'd be low.
Damn.
Cool.
That's why I think as soon as you get into weighted points, you put in for the tag. Don't just put in for the preference points, put in for the tag, because you might get lucky and draw it. The Moose unit that I'm going for, there's guys that have 22 points that didn't draw it. 1 out of 2 that had 22 weighted points drew that tag. There's another guy who had 7 and he drew it. It's like, oh,
Okay, I want to be
Oh,
the
man.
fucking noob again. What the hell are the weighted points? I still don't understand those all the way.
Yeah, I don't get
don't
it at
either.
all.
it's like a preference point.
Yeah, but how do you
Like-
get them? Because I'll go buy them.
Once you get 3 preference points, then they change to weighted points.
Oh.
It's
Yeah, my
it's a-
my bighorn sheep order number ended in a 0.
So when you say 7 preference point or 7 weighted points, it means 21 points.
No, it means 10 points total. So there's 3 preference points, and then there's 7 weighted points. Because you always have your 3 preference points before you can start getting your weighted points. So you have 3 preference,
So-
and then however many
so every point
weighted.
after
Every point after 3 is a weighted
Okay.
point.
Is
You know
that only for the sheep?
meme- Yeah, that meme
No,
from
that's
The
sheep.
Boys where
Moose.
the fucking super soldier dude is like, I'm pretty sure you made those words up. Dave, I'm pretty sure you made all those words up.
I tried YouTubing it, and I'll post the link in the show notes of the YouTube video that best explained it in my eyes. But it was still a complicated fucking mess. Just it's like, oh, you put this in, magic happens, and then hey, you might draw a tag.
Yeah. I just looked. I guess I have less than I thought. I have 3 preference points for Rocky Mountain Bighorn.
So next year you get extra special points that are somehow
Yeah.
worth 3 points, but also only worth 1 while at the same time being 10.
Oh, okay. But I see now. So I have 3 preference points for Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep, which was in 2023. And I just got awarded my first weighted preference point.
There you go.
Dang it.
So you're saying
Much like me, it carries weight.
So if I should, man, I'm gonna go back in time and slap myself when I was 22.
Yeah.
Should have been applying for
same.
points this whole damn
Yeah.
time.
yeah. So
the
the
14 years I was in the military not hunting, I could have been applying for these points.
Yeah, I have 3 preference points for moose. But yeah, and I still am not 100% sure I understand weighted points. It's like, okay, you got your 3 preference points, now you get weighted. So now now that I have weighted points, I should start putting in and then just choose preference after as a backup.
Yeah. Yep.
And then do you know, is it order ID that they go by, the last digit, or is it application number?
It's your I believe it's your application. Order is your awarded tag. That's my bad. Your application number, that is what gets transversed.
Huh, yeah. And
to my
this-
understanding.
Yeah, and this is hunting in Colorado. This is why I was like,
Yeah.
help.
Let's
Please.
say.
Fucking
Now,
source-
granted, this is like expert level hunting. This is the stuff that you have to have been playing the game for a while to figure out how to unlock.
It is, but
And-
it isn't. But this is just the advanced level of the already dumbly advanced level of getting into, I mean, not just Colorado hunting, but Western hunting in general. Pop up to
Mhm.
Wyoming and it's a goofy mixture of both a watery but also still black magic. I still don't have the full wrap on Wyoming system up there.
I was looking at Montana's, and it's somehow similar, but not nearly as complicated.
I think Colorado actually is probably one of the more. I think I've heard New Mexico and Colorado are kind of tied for being just stupidly complicated.
I think the more big game species
Anyway.
you have, the more complicated it gets. I mean, if all you have is turkey, bear, and deer, it's not super complicated.
Wyoming has grizzlies.
And buffalo. They have a buffalo
And
tag.
grizzly hunts you.
I think last year the hunting tag up there was by auction for grizzlies.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway,
Is it baiting grizzlies if they just come into your camp?
dude, when I was hunting black bear, I thought about like, should I be looking at Onyx going like, well, there's houses over there. It's like, should I just be posting up like 100 yards from those houses, waiting for the bears to come by on trash day?
Dude, I was at the Y yesterday morning.
Why?
I went. Serious question? Swimming. Anyway, as I was leaving, they had a written sign. They love their trivia at the Y, and the sign said, "In case of a grizzly attack, what are you supposed to do?" See the Y humans for the answer, and the answers were like play dead, fight back, make a lot of noise, run away. And I was like, there is a fifth option. And I wanted to turn around and look at the Y lady and say, there is a fifth option. But she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I just turned around and left because she would not have appreciated.
No, she would have been like,
Fuck
"Please
it."
stop talking to me, man."
She would have been like, give me your membership card.
No, she would have looked at you and been like, you were the 8th person to tell me that today, sir. Thank you.
No, that's when you get her on her
I
toes.
want to know.
Oh, his
What's the-
fifth option, he's going to try and spray it down with his 9mm before he gets digested.
Well, at least shoot at it, fight back.
I thought he was going to unzip his pants.
Oh, I thought he was going to roll to seduce the bear.
Yeah. There are sixth and seventh options.
I picked 6.
I don't know if roll to seduce the bear will fit, but we're not.
Listen,
What
man.
does he have to roll? Like a +3 to his charisma, so like probably a total of like he's got to make that 20 on 2 d10s. Oh no!
Do you have to spec
I
into
think he
animal
fell again.
handling?
Why is Mike treating the Y like it's Planet Fitness? That's all I want to know.
Yep.
Wow. He
Yep.
did.
All right. So Shawn, we have some. As soon as I find them, because these guys bury them in the notes somewhere. Where are the general questions, guys?
Yeah, I'm winging it.
For
Hey,
guests.
my questions were more.
Oh yeah, I
like,
was gonna. Never
No,
mind.
no. We have the important ones we have to ask first. I know the first.
Oh yeah,
one off
yeah.
my head, which is Shawn. If you're given the opportunity to hunt a prehistoric animal, what are you going to hunt, and what are you going to do it with?
Brontosaurus,
Nice.
and they seem like they would have good meat, you know,
A ribeye.
a lot of meat and good meat. And isn't that like what Fred Flintstone had the ribs
Yeah.
on the car? Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
delicious. And what would I hunt it with?
Yeah.
A spear.
Nice.
No,
Are we gonna do, Are we going to
Actually-
do like? Are we going to drive it over a cliff like they used to do bison, or are we just going to go right to the heart?
exactly. No, just wait till pop out of a bush and just stab it directly in its eye, penetrate the brain. You're good to go.
Then just get swatted by the tail.
I was thinking that, but wait till it's up in it, like climb up a tree 30 feet and wait till it's eating the branches up in the tree and just be like, surprise, bitch, stab.
Yeah,
And then-
unless you like hold onto the spear and it like pulls you out of the tree and then you die from blunt force trauma of hitting the ground.
What if they're like llamas and they spit at you?
Oh, God.
I mean,
a lot of
that would
spit.
be like a pickup bed load of loogie just at you.
Dude, you remember Jurassic Park with the sick brachiosaur?
Yep.
Mhm.
You believe
Yeah,
everything
gross.
you see in movies.
Of course. Movies are factual.
100%. Also, I have a spear in my office specifically for this. It just
That's right, you do. I read about that.
It's a boar spear,
Excellent.
but
I'm not sure the quillions in that boar spear are going to be enough to stop that brontosaurus from running up the spear to get you, but it's worth a shot.
yeah,
Sean's standing there with his spear, and the brontosaurus just steps on him.
I'm just like standing in a bush wearing Camerado, dying.
It's Camerado now.
I look so cool.
You did.
All right. So that gets the first one of those out of the way. Mike, I think you had a real question.
I did have real question. In your pursuit of the new hunting, what appealed to you the most in trying to get into what? I think the question I'm trying to ask is, what deterred you from like going after taking a shotgun and going to the river and going after like ducks or going after birds in the woods? Was that
Jail.
just as daunting to you? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, all of it is like.
okay.
My question in the beginning was, how the hell do I know where I'm allowed to do these things? And like, what license do I have to shoot X thing? What license do I have to like, stab it with a faraway arrow, aka archery? Like it was that stuff. And then, how do I know? I'm like walking in the goddamn woods for an hour. How do I know if I'm on someone's private property, if I'm on national forest, if I'm on some like special use land that I'm not allowed to do these things? And that I think was the biggest question. And like, you can't just take a shotgun and just like go to a river. They frown on that at Memorial Park.
That's true. They do.
Yeah. So like, you can't do that. And that was the stuff that I was like, I don't even know where to start.
And
again,
Residentially challenged that live at Memorial Park get really pissed off about the gunfire.
Yeah, but they really appreciate the free duck.
True. I mean, it's
Let's
win-win.
say, it's Memorial
Lose-win.
Park. I don't go to Memorial Park without a shotgun these days. Come on. I went to the freaking 4th of July celebration there 8 years ago, and I have never been so glad I was carrying in my entire life.
Oh yeah, 100%. Not a great
I've-
place.
No, not at all.
I will.
I thought it was fun. It turns out it sucks.
I'll say, in regards to where to hunt, Onyx has been a great tool for me. However, there is another tool that is free. It's called Polaris Ride Command, and it has 50 state landowner maps and has all the trails,
Wow.
Ooh.
public, private. So
Jevlin Fangs in the
I
in the comments says that was a big one for me too. Even here, Sean.
Yeah.
The figuring out where to go. So basically, what I'm asking you is, keep naming the stuff that guys have been doing it for years take for granted. Because like I literally just a little bit took it for granted that I could take a shotgun and go to the river and know where to go. Like how the hell would you have known that?
Yeah. I mean, you guys introduced me to Onyx, and like I pay for it, and it's worth every penny, in my opinion, because it's so useful. And like even just going camping, I download my Onyx maps ahead of time, like at every magnification, just just in case. And that's probably the biggest thing, because now I can look at the big game brochure and understand the zones and stuff like that. But Onyx like really it gives you a real-time indicator of what you're doing and where you are. And
yes,
So just the planning feature of it too. It's like, oh yay, I got an elk tag for unit, freaking 214, and then you look at 214 and find out, oh wait, there's not a lot of public in 214. Fantastic.
You put the hunting atlas from the CPW website and Onyx side by side on a computer screen, and you go back and forth, and you can actually plan a pretty legitimate hunt.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel confident enough. I'm glad that we all still kind of work together. In fact, I almost missed it this year. I feel like I've been really busy lately, but the night before, like 20 minutes before, I like look in our hunting group, and I was like, oh, God damn it.
This is the code for points. Use the code for points.
Yeah, what's the code for points? And then I'm like trying to register, and it's like it keeps giving me an error, but the error is like 76 errors all in one string, and it's just the last one that makes sense. It's like you have to have your small game license before you can put in for this or some nonsense. And I was like, so then it's like 10 minutes before, And I'm like, God, okay, I got to buy my stupid small game license. So I buy that in a separate transaction, then come back in, and I can put in for all my preference points for everything. And yeah, it was tough, but I appreciated having that resource. I was like, I just need to remember that all 9s is for preference points, but I don't usually go for preference points. I did this year, but normally like I use that, like, I don't know, for 2 or 3 or maybe 4 things, but in general I don't. So yeah, just having that, learning how to use the small game brochure. I'm sorry, the big game brochure was a big thing. And that was Dave explaining it and Mike explaining it, and then like literally going through it and just picking up the pieces that you guys had told me and really being able to look at it, and it makes sense at that point. Oh, I do this. And honestly, like what I really need to do is look at it 3 or 4 times a year and go figure out what I'm going to do and where I'm going to do it. Because if you only do it every year right before you apply, you're going to forget 99% of the stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I have it as bookmarked on my browser on my phone.
Yeah.
I look at it all the time. It was like, what is that hunt code again? Even season dates and shit. And turns out, if I draw my elk tag this year, I have to be the officiant in a wedding dead in the middle of my season that I applied for.
No.
So,
Damn it.
Wait a minute. I thought this happened
So-
last year.
no. That was,
You've just been
they were
talking
planning
about it
on
for
last
a
year. Now
Wait a
they
minute.
are for sure doing it this year.
Oh no,
I'm begging
And
you. I'm
These
begging you.
people- You give us these people's phone number. That's not cool. They're planning it for last year, and then they flake out and go, "Actually, we're gonna get married this year instead." So they stuff you twice.
Show up
Not cool.
to the wedding in full camo,
Mhm.
rifle slung over your shoulder. Do not change. Say this is what you get.
Dearly
I might
beloved,
be-
y'all are married. Bye.
I might be Sean's wedding time. That was fucking fast.
Exactly.
That was
We,
awesome.
we were there to party. That was just a formality.
Fucking A. And party we did.
Indeed.
No, going back to the application process, as long as you have your small game license in your cart, you can apply for big game
That makes sense.
for future reference.
Somehow I don't remember that, or maybe I
I
just
do
don't-
believe that is a recent change, like this year or the last year.
because you don't have to buy your small game. Like I don't feel
No, well, you had to
Like
have.
it was-
I've had to have the prerequisite tag for the past 3 years or whatever.
huh.
Yeah,
Well,
the prerequisite
that's
tag is not a new thing. The being able to put it in your cart and then buy the rest of the stuff
Oh,
that you
well,
need and buy it
alright.
all at once is a new thing. Before you did have to do it Sean's route, buy it and then have it on your thing and then go back and apply for your big game licenses.
Well, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
that's getting a little granular for like specifics of Colorado, where we don't need to touch on that too much.
Yeah, but I mean, all things considered, like I feel relatively confident that I can figure out a place to go, actually get to the place, not break any laws while I'm there, and
purpose.
and do that now on purpose. And that's honestly because you guys have helped me so much throughout the years. And even having said that, like it's still complicated. Like I feel like Dave is Yoda.
For sure. No,
because
not even.
When I was in, we had a system for travel called DTS, and I'm pretty sure they still have it, but they have most likely updated it to an all new, even worse system at this point. But we had people in every shop they were known as a DTS wizard. Like you'd send 200 people out on a TDY or a deployment, and you'd have to come back, and everybody has to do their DTS. Problem is, nobody knows how to do it. So you get this one guy who knows how to do it, and he just runs around and does it for everybody. Problem is, then that guy PCSs or gets kicked out or gets an Article 15 or something like that, and then nobody knows how to do DTS. Like, you're not doing anybody any favors by doing it for them.
Once again, I'm
So-
pretty sure you just made those words up.
Just a bunch of acronyms.
PTS,
But-
PDY, blah, blah, blah,
We're
blah.
living in acronym
Like-
hell right now. Please.
Yeah, he's down.
We didn't just do it for you. We showed you the process every step of the way.
He's down to sex.
Oh yeah. In
So-
fact, Mike gave me like this incredibly detailed document that I still refer back to.
He gave that to me too. I lost it.
Oh no, I have it.
Yeah.
I have it.
I've never seen it. You son of a bitch.
No, it's
I'll
good.
have
It's really, really good.
I'll have to find it. And Jeffrey helped me out a lot with that thing. I sent versions of it back and forth to him, and I was like, "What would you add? What would you take out?" And he's like, "Oh, this is dumb. Take that out. This is fantastic. Yeah, this is great. Do it." And I was like, "Sweet." So
You mean to
Credit
tell
to
me
Jeff
we've
as
been
well.
we've been sitting on this content gold mine for this long, and you've yet to share it?
Dave's
Wow.
like, son of a bitch, we could have
Fucker.
charged people for that.
Yeah, it's so good.
I didn't know it was that good.
I
just
mean,
did a thing.
It's helped me a lot.
Good. I'm glad it's helped. That was the entire purpose, was to make it more helpful.
Yeah, I refer back to it pretty regularly whenever I'm like looking at stuff or thinking about what tags I want to do, or even I look back. I looked at it the day after our tag deadline was this year, just because there was a couple things that confused me and I wanted to brush up on those.
What were those things?
Well, looking up some of the for some reason I'm drawing a blank on the unit numbers. Looking up some of the unit numbers, and I was also looking to see if it said anything about the small game, because I didn't remember that. It doesn't, by the way.
Nice.
No, I had to remember this year too when I was doing mine, but well.
But yeah, the small game, like if it just said, "Hey, you need to add your small game to your cart," but no, it was like 76 errors along with that one
Yeah.
at the very end. So like I never read all the way to the end, because who cares?
Yeah, nobody wants
That's how he
to.
reads books. He still doesn't know how Harry Potter ends.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He
that
just
should be-
doesn't know anything that happens in the middle. Like he
Oh,
reads the beginning and then he reads the end.
One of the cool things that
Government
Colorado
applications, you either live or you die.
one of the
There is no
cool
live.
things that Colorado did this year for small game licenses online is you get your HIP number when you get your license.
That's
I love
Like,
that. That's a great
you
change.
fill out the survey and everything, and then you get your HIP number, and then it's on your license. You don't have to worry about forgetting and then getting stopped and be like, "Hey, you don't have your HIP number. Here's your ticket." So that's pretty handy. I thought that was nice.
So I logged into our Department of Wildlife a little while ago, and it was something about HIP. And I'm on the HIP web page right now trying to figure out what the hell HIP is.
Harvest Information
Harvest.
Program. Basically, if you filled out something any year that said, did you specifically? It seems like it's really did you harvest any? Did you hunt prairie dogs? Did you harvest any prairie dogs? Are you intending to harvest any prairie dogs next year? That kind of it's just a whole list of endless questions regarding.
Yeah,
that
it's
kind of stuff.
It's
small
entirely
game
small
and
game
waterfowl
Okay.
Yeah.
specific. The big game survey is the email that you get after the season that you fill out.
The
Okay.
questions
So-
that stuck out to me were: did you hunt ducks? How many ducks did you manage to duck over the course
Water
of
swat?
your ducking? Shut up. How many pheasants did you hunt? I hunted, but I didn't get any because RMR doesn't count.
No,
But yeah,
it does not.
It's again a small game waterfowl.
All right.
I didn't need to piggyback. I apologize.
The next important question, Shawn, what would you call your biggest win so far while out hunting?
That's tough. I've had some cool ones, but I would say finding the ambrosia of meat was my biggest win.
Is this the cheeks off the iguanas?
No,
Oh, okay.
Is
That's
that red meat or?
It's chicken.
no, it was like pork.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I would say so. Nilgai, discovering how much I love Nilgai was kind of like my biggest win, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't grow up eating wild game, and I am very sensitive to stuff that is not beef, chicken, or pork.
Mm-hmm.
So
Same.
if I cook something and it even has the like just hint of gaminess, my body shuts down and my brain turns off and just like rejects it like a 2-year-old and pees. So
What is that?
Yeah, discovering wild game that I just absolutely love and is just more delicious than bison or beef or any of those things, I think was my biggest win. Because now I know, I just need to save up and like go do that because that's the thing that I love the most.
Yeah.
And elk, I haven't had elk in a very, very, very long time. So I really hope that that is very similar for me because eating what I kill is very important to me. And having an animal that I can be like, yes, that is the one. That is the thing that I will literally keep in my freezer the entire year, every day, and eat it with no problem.
I still
I'm
want to
gonna
go
go out.
saddle on one of those things.
You should try squirrel.
Ooh, squirrel.
The one time I've tried squirrel, that poor squirrel was so dried out and burned to death on a stick. I'm not sure it was worth it.
And that was before he shot it.
I'm
I'll
gonna
tell
go
you-
out.
I'll tell you
on a
about
l-
that later.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Nilgai will probably surpass elk.
I have a feeling because Nilgai is just
Just
like,
the climate they're in, the terrain they're in. I bet you they'll surpass elk. Elk is fucking delicious, and that's just a testament of how good Nilgai probably is.
yeah,
I need fresh elk and fresh nilgai to do it. Like I would cook them side by side and do a taste test compare. Like inch thick steaks, seasoned exactly the same, cooked on my grill,
Yeah, but they
exactly
have
the same
to
amount
come-
of time.
They have to come from the same part of the animal too, though.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like
Because I found out with my roadkill,
Back
that
probably a
Backstrap
loin
backstrap-
steak.
the backstrap
Backstrap
steak
steak.
was delicious. Trying to do
Yes.
a backstrap out of one of the little round cuts off the rump was
yeah.
It depends. I've never had a problem eating steak off the rump.
Well, you got to remember this was the roadkill
Sweet
that
ass.
had come in the back of the pan and aged at least 5 hours.
Surprising no one.
Yeah, I was like,
My mic was muted for my joke. I was like, "Oh, you kill what you eat." Is that what they call you, a pussy slayer?
Oh God!
look, I eat ass.
Mute.
All right.
So no, while we're on the topic of Nilgai, and this is one of the most highly controversial things in hunting, I think, is canned hunts. However, I think they have their place, and I think they're a great thing, in my opinion. If you shoot a trophy, it shouldn't go in Boone and Crockett, but I definitely think that canned hunts have their place.
Discuss.
I mean, for me, 100%. Like, there is a lot of gatekeeping in hunting, which pisses me off because,
We know a severe gatekeeper.
yeah. And
So,
so,
about you, Agent Entropy,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Mister, if you had taken ATV in, you're not a real hunter. If you enjoyed
You didn't wear Sitka in there. You're not a hunter.
he's not that part. He was the one who was super offended of the video, which looks super awesome, of the dudes waterfowl hunting in like their little blind bunker, and you got a guy in the background who's making bacon and eggs.
Oh
for everybody.
yeah, that was awesome. I want to hunt geese like that.
Oh, so do I.
Who does
Yeah,
not
there's
want to
nothing wrong
hunt
with
geese?
that.
He wants to hunt geese like that.
That's
He's just
fine.
mad he wants to hunt geese like that because it goes against every instinct he has.
And if somebody wants to climb a mountain and then pack out an elk after they take it, like going through valley after valley after valley, like that is so awesome. Do that. That is the coolest thing that I've ever heard of. And I'm so happy for you that you can do that. At the same time, there's so much gatekeeping in hunting, in my opinion, because that's one of the things that like kept me out of it is, everyone's got their spot that they don't want to share. And like, on the one hand, I understand it. On the other hand, it kind of sucks. So for me, if I didn't have you guys, canned hunts would have been the thing that really taught me the ropes. I've done 2 of them, and I don't even want to say canned hunts. One of them
No, I was
absolutely
just
was, and one of them is like a high fence hunt.
Maybe we should kind of define those terms. Like, what would you call a canned hunt versus, say, a guided hunt or even a high fenced hunt?
An African hunt, and I'd say a guided hunt would be a hunt on thousands of acres of lands, like in Africa, or possibly private land in Texas where there's no guy. But the difference is the land in Africa, they generally own the animals, and in Texas, they don't. The animals are wild. It's just they own the ranch. They have really high fences around, so the animals can't really go anywhere. And
aren't there
they
also
only-
guided hunts on public land in the United
Yes,
States?
there are.
Alaska, out
Yeah.
west.
Yeah.
Colorado.
If you ever
So-
if you ever want some interesting stories, you look at some of the almost like wars between guides up in like Wyoming, especially.
Yeah.
These dudes are just like they'll freaking tear out roads on each other almost, or park their trailers transverse to block somebody else from coming up. It gets crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, a canned hunt would be they basically breed the animals to get shot.
Yes.
Rocky Mountain Roosters is a canned hunt. They literally throw the birds from a truck, and then they give you your area to go hunt.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the two that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I was
Go
just going
ahead,
to say
Shawn.
that's a little less canned. Maybe they pop the top for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they literally breed the birds there. So, yeah,
Yeah,
how
but they
much-
don't shake the birds for you. You have to shake them yourself at the end.
Which is better. I don't want the guide to take me to the bush. He put the God damn it! I don't want the guide to take me to the bird. He
The
put
bush creature.
Yeah. And then I
Yes.
pop out of that bush with a fucking spear.
Yeah, actually, that would be great.
Because he thought you were a brontosaurus.
Yeah.
Dude, we're spear hunting pheasants.
Long ass neck.
Well, we don't take acid hunting.
So I'll tell you
Who's
the two
acid?
that-
Go ahead.
Yeah. But I'll tell you the two that I did and why I think they are each different kind. So a canned hunt is basically something. A canned hunt is an escape room, right? You go in, the clues are all laid out. They give you clues so you can solve the clues, and then eventually, hopefully, you can get the door open and you all don't drown when the room fills with water. Like canned hunts are an escape room. Everything is very, very, very controlled, and there's a few things that are within your power, but they really try to set it up to where you can do those things in your power pretty easily, and there's not a whole lot of challenge. I went to Big Mountain Hunting Ranch in Utah, and they raise their animals. They have two separate things that they do. They do rams. They have Barbados, and that's what I took. And then they have a bunch of other similar breeds, and then they do turkeys. And they release them on a 50-acre plot, and you can basically they release them the night before. The animal that you picked out of a fence, and you said, "Yeah, I want that one." And so they release them out, and then you go in and you park by the bunkhouse, and you get your guns or your arrows or whatever you happen to be shooting with, and you go walk the 50 acres and try to find the rams or the turkeys. So you're pretty much going to find it because 50 acres isn't, I mean, it's not like a huge amount. You can walk around 50 acres and not too long.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of places to hide. They've got some trees. They've got some flat land with sage. It was one of those things that was really cool. So we decided to do it on hard mode and do it with 10 millimeter 1911s. And we found the rams. We were able to harvest the rams. And then when everyone else, after I took mine, I went back with the guy because they do the field dressing and everything for you. Well, I went back with him to the area where he does all that because I wanted to learn more about how to dress animals and get them ready to send off for processing. So while the rest of the guys were hunting one or two of their rams, I went back to go learn all of that stuff. And the guy that runs Big Mountain Hunting Ranch is absolutely awesome. He showed me the ropes, did that. And then we decided to take turkeys with air guns. So we went out and took our turkeys. And then as everyone else finished their hunts, like it wasn't that I didn't want to be a team player. It was just very important for me to do the whole thing. He taught me how to dress the turkey and get the meat and do all that. To me, that's a canned hunt. And it was one of the more valuable hunting experiences that I've had. Just like when I took an antelope with Mike and Dave, they showed me the ropes. They showed me how to do all the things. I did all the movements myself. I didn't have all that knowledge, but I was able to follow their instructions and do that thing. And to me, like, especially for a new hunter, especially for somebody who's not rich, that Big Mountain Hunting Ranch, because I think depending on the curl on the ram. It's between $400 and $1,000 for a ram, and under $250 for a turkey. So like,
I mean,
you can't beat that, in my opinion.
That's pretty reasonable.
and
Yeah.
can we talk about that shot on the ram? I don't want to underplay that at all. I mean, that was a hell of a shot, man.
It was.
Yeah,
it
the
was.
story of the shot's pretty cool.
Yeah, I probably couldn't do it if I. It was like the Doctor Strange and Avengers. Like he looked at 17 million possible scenarios, and I only shot that ram in one of them, and it was kind of that. So 63 yards. They were. I came across them, popped out from behind a tree, shot. It hit heart in both lungs, and ran about 100 yards and died. So
Nice.
it was luck. I don't think I could do it again, but holy crap, it makes for a really good story.
And there's
So-
video for the naysayers.
Yeah. Somebody the other day was like, yeah, prove it. I was like, here's the video, idiot.
Son of a bitch.
You compared it to an escape room, like a canned hunt, and all I can think of, if that's the comparison, like an escape room is like a canned hunt, then a do-it-yourself public land hunt must be like getting kidnapped by a taxi in Mexico City.
Yeah,
Jesus.
literally.
And then taken to Brazil.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
Brazil's fine. Better Brazil than Mexico.
Big Mountain Hunting Ranch was so cool. I looked it up again today and I was like, man, I really kind of wish that I liked ram meat more, because like $400 or $500. I think the one that I took was $600, and it's hide, and it's Euro mount is sitting right out in the other room here at the office. But like, what a cool experience. And people think that these guided or canned or high fence hunts are so incredibly expensive, but then there's places like this where you can go out. You want to hunt it with a knife? I bet they would let you if you sign all the waivers. But
Grab that spear, boy.
Does it have two fences you can back it into a corner?
Oh yeah.
well, it's got 4 fences. The 50 acres is completely fenced in.
Yeah,
So-
they're turkey hens.
Then
are
it's
70
doable.
Their turkey hens are $75. Their turkey toms are $125. Hell, you spend that much for the tag here in Colorado.
Dude, yes. If you get your turkey late enough, you spend that much for the turkey that you buy at the grocery
That's
store.
no shit.
Right?
So yeah, like to me, that's a canned hunt, right? They're letting it out on the property.
Yeah.
You're clearly going to be able to find it. But it wasn't like immediate for us. We walked around for hours looking for the rams. And overall, it was just like such a cool experience. I still have some of the ram meat left in the freezer, and it was just awesome. And then my other one was more of a high fence. So I went to G2 Hunting Ranch in Texas, and that was 8,000 acres, 8,000 acres of high and low fence areas. And it's literally like going, when they open the gates at Jurassic Park and they go in and there's like all the different breeds of dinosaurs on both sides. That's literally what G2 is like.
Oh, yeah,
Welcome
I'm looking,
to G2 Ranch.
I'm looking at the picture on
Spared no
their
expense.
website. No kidding.
Yeah. That's literally what it's like. Cause you go out and suddenly there's like kudu and zebra and giraffes.
Oh, they got buffalo.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Oh, they have caribou too in Texas. Oh man,
No shit.
Those poor animals.
They have everything.
there's a caribou right there. The guy in the picture doesn't look happy enough though. I hate that with guys taking hunting pictures. We're like, oh, serious moment. I can't smile.
Maybe they just can't smile.
I'm going to totally divert for a second because when I took my first antelope, I was like pumped. I was pumped. It was with you guys. And
It was a great day.
yeah. And
was awesome.
then when it comes time to take the picture with your animal, you're like, holy shit, wait, do I smile? Is that sensitive? Do I look serious because I understand the gravity of taking a life? Yeah, it was, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna smile huge because I'm very, very happy right now. And, I'm going to take this meat and I'm going to give it to my friends and my family and I'm going to eat it. And I have done exactly that. Like my UPS guy, I give him like wild game all the time. Literally he comes in. I'm like, hey, did you eat all that stuff? Yeah. here you go. What do you want? I've given him ram, deer, antelope, nilgai, pretty much everything. And that's one of the coolest things to me is like sharing that with my friends and my family. And yeah, it's just awesome. So yeah, I smile really big in those pictures because it is very happy.
As you should, in my opinion.
I agree. Dude, your smile on the when you're holding up the 2 pieces of ram heart, like that's that half stupid, half holy shit, half I got it in the heart look. Like, yeah, that's 3 halves. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You had 2 halves of heart and 3 halves of look.
The destroyed ram's heart from 63 yards with the 10 millimeter Barnes bullet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was cool.
I all the old timey photos you see, and they're just standing there. They're like stoic faced, like serious moment. I shot a buffalo with a 22. Like, bitch, you shot a buffalo with a 22. Celebrate that shit.
Yeah, the problem is that was like the 400th buffalo that guy killed. So at that point, he's just like, got another one.
But it was his first photo.
Yeah.
Because it was 1862.
Back then, people didn't smile on pictures because you had to hold so still. You couldn't hold a smile for 3 minutes. You had to sit there for so damn long, perfectly still, because it took that long for the photo to actually, for the negative to actually take place.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah. So then G2 Ranch, the nilgai, this was a much different experience. So I think the Big Mountain Hunting Ranch in Utah has a bunkhouse that's like made out of plywood and stuff. Like super cool and an awesome amenity to have there. But G2 Hunting Ranch is luxury, and it's truly like going to Jurassic Park. I mean, just the amount of animals that you've heard of or seen on National Geographic are just like running around and they're out there. And so you drive out. Yeah, it's 100% a hunter's theme park. That's a really good way to put it. But then, you go out and my hunt was just pure luck. We went out literally just to scout. I had my rifle with me just because, and freaking 10 minutes into the hunt, we spot one of the biggest stud nilgai bulls that they had, and I'm able to take a really, really, really good shot at just around 200 yards. And then I was like, okay, that was really, really freaking easy. Maybe everyone's right. Maybe high fence hunts are stupid and I'm a loser for doing it. Then the following 2 days, where we had to find 2 more of them, really tested all of our endurance. We decided to do it at night under thermals. So adding a little bit of additional challenge to it was pretty cool.
Which you would think would make it stupidly easy because everyone's got predator vision on thermals. Like you can see through walls, man.
Yeah. 8,000 acres is so big though.
Oh, I know. Thermals with me, real life ruined me for video game thermals because I remember fucking Splinter Cell. You put the thermals on, you can see through the walls. Oh yeah. You're like, oh man, this hunt ought to be easy. And then you get out there in the real world with thermals, you're like, I can't see shit.
Yeah. One of the challenges with thermals, especially being in a place like that is that a nilgai or is that like a, $20,000 Axis? In the middle of the night
or sable.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All the animals look pretty similar under thermal. So you really have to have your identification down. And we had like the best guides. I can't even tell you how good these dudes were. Brock and Cody at G2. They were just, I spent, when we go do stuff like this, there's a lot of downtime and a lot of dudes just go hang out in their rooms and I don't know, look at porn or whatever. But I just hung out with our guides. So like I was with them pretty much like 18 hours a day for 3 or 4 days. And it was awesome. But yeah, like that hunt was another one. So I take my nilgai, we go back, I help process it and learn about that animal. And the guides were like founts of knowledge. So I learned about the animal. I learned how to dress the animal. And you start to realize after a while, okay, like this is all pretty standard. You do the same thing, cut out the butthole, sever the trachea and, pull all the guts out and do the thing.
Yeah.
And that gave me a lot of confidence because I had done my antelope. I had helped Mike with his deer. I had done my ram, and then I was able to watch and assist with the nil guy as well and learn. And you're like, okay, yeah, it's all pretty similar. But that high fence hunt, like, it was a challenge. Like I didn't realize till the end how lucky I got, because I was a little disappointed at the beginning at how easy mine was. But then I got to the end and I was like, okay, thank God, because we're literally hopping on a plane in an hour and this dude just got his. So yeah, that was a challenge, but I think it's all in how you look at things and all about how you, like, what value you want to get out of it, right?
Mhm.
Everything I've done, I wanted to learn how to do this myself. And every one of those experiences, whether it was a canned hunt, a high fence hunt, or like, trying to navigate the craziness of public versus private land in Springfield,
Yeah.
I was able to get different things out of all of that. And if anyone's on the fence about a canned hunt or a high fence hunt, like, if you can afford it, if it's in your budget, you should absolutely do it, because everything's going to be different. You're going to always pull something new out of those things that you didn't have before. And I would just, I can't recommend it enough.
If you got a shotgun and you got a small game license, if you got a small game license, go look up any number of the bird guide outfitters they have in Colorado or any other state, really. I know one of our listeners in Florida lives down south, a huge duck hunter, loves hunting ducks. There's a ton of ducks, like literally all over the state, real easy to get into. And a guided outfitter, if you're on the fence about trying to figure out how to get into it, go to the guided outfitter and pick their brains while you're doing it. Like, where do you go hunt when you're not guiding? Can you give me some pointers? And not only that, but you're on a guided hunt to where you have the opportunity to kill an animal, and you get the adrenaline rush, and then it gets you hooked. And then you get to eat the animal later, and you're like, dude, not only did I take this, but now I'm eating it. Like, I took it, I cleaned it, I cooked it, I froze it, now I'm eating it. Now it's going to sustain any number of people. Like the nil guy, Shawn, how many people has that been feeding since the months you got it?
Man, so many,
Like,
so many
that's
different
so
ones.
cool.
It is. One of my favorite nil guy moments was going over to have family dinner with all the kids and grandkids and my wife Angel, and being able to make like homemade Navajo tacos with like homemade fry bread and nilgai meat. It was just like the coolest thing ever. So
nilgai meat makes great nacho meat, like great taco meat. Really,
nilgai is like, it's the best meat. I'm pretty comfortable saying that.
Hunting can kind of ruin you.
Yeah,
because you'll be making the food that you normally eat, like chili, tacos, whatever, with something that normal people don't really get. And you'll hear someone talk about it like, oh, I'd love to try venison. I'm like, and you don't even think about it. You've been eating it for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't bought ground beef in like 12 years.
I wouldn't say 12 years, but since I started hunting, since I had my successful hunts, the deer, the elk, the pronghorn, all in the same year, I've been eating off of that for 4 years still.
Yeah.
And I've added a couple more animals to that I'm still eating off of. Freezer's getting kind of bare, so I'm really hoping this archery crossbow elk thing works out pretty well this year.
Well, first we're gonna stuff you full of beaver livers.
Don't you tempt me.
Thank you for bringing up the beaver, because
that's Dave.
Shawn, you said basically every animal's more or less the same, and yeah, that's absolutely true. We have found like one or two animals, they have their own specific little quirks, namely a male beaver and his castor gland. Because you're like, what the hell do I do with this?
Yeah, and you're like, oh,
do I cut through it? Do I cut it out?
No,
what do I do?
Don't cut through it. You ruin the whole damn thing.
It's so bad.
Can I back up a little bit? I have a question. Shawn, on either of these hunts that you've been on, did they have the option for people to rent or borrow firearms?
Let's see. Big Mountain Hunting Ranch, I don't recall. G2, the guides have their own rifles. And let me just say this right now, that the guides are better than all of us at like shooting, and which is crazy. Like these dudes are dialed freaking in. All their gear is the best, even if it's not like the most name brand, but their stuff is more dialed in than anybody. So you absolutely had the option to use your guides rifles, and I believe at G2 you don't have to have your own stuff. You can get it, but it's like, Club Med of hunting. And I think my nil guy was like, for a 2 night, 3-day hunt for the nil guy was like, I didn't pay for it, thank God. But almost $7,000.
Yeah, I was looking at their prices. Well, hang on. Tell me real quick if you would pay $40,000 to shoot this thing. That is a bongo.
I mean,
Which if you go to their website, the bongo is worth $44,000. I'm thinking, ooh, what's this? Look at that. This looks like an antelope with like too many chromosomes.
it's definitely an ungulate, right?
Yeah, it is. It just looks like, for those of you can look it up if you're listening. It's called a bongo, like a bongo drum.
Yeah.
And it looks like some kind of striped, bent over antelope. Oh, Dave died.
Dude,
Hi,
Dave looked like he was literally, he opened his mouth and then, did you see that too, Shawn?
Yeah.
It looks like somebody painted a fat antelope.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Like,
cross
it's
between
just-
an antelope and that flea from Attack of the Clones
Yes.
that Anakin's riding around
I
on.
just watched that last night and laughed
Nice.
at that stupid scene. But yeah, so they have stuff that you can use, and the guides were very confident, and so I was lucky enough to be able to go to the range with them one day, and we were shooting far, and their stuff was just so dialed in. So as I understand, and I'm not saying that they told me this because I don't know if they're allowed to say stuff like this, but as I understand, a lot of dudes bring rifles that are not zeroed. They fucking suck at shooting. They have stupid ammo, and a lot of dudes end up having to use the guides' rifles anyway. Because at that level, at that ranch, like it's an executive or a millionaire or whatever that just literally doesn't have the time or even honestly the desire to go out and do it. So they want the guide to take them to the ammo. They want to do the thing. They want to put 7 rounds in it or whatever, and before they actually
they want the fucking wall mount above their fireplace in their ranch in Montana.
They want
that's all they fucking want.
Yeah,
they want the experience, and they want the wall mount so they can go to their buddies and go, look at that thing up there. I shot that in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, they probably read all about what you're supposed to have, what you're supposed to do it with, and what's best out there. Oh, a lot of them have, and they have no idea how to put it together, like how to properly mount an optic.
Yeah.
A lot of
properly
them
sight in a rifle.
A lot of them do, but it's flip side. I know I've worked for some of these kind of guys, and guarantee a bunch of them too. I don't give a fuck.
No.
Just reading about a lot of African hunting, like the amount of times a rich client will show up with a rifle they haven't sighted in and have never shot before, in a caliber that they actually can't handle.
Yeah. Well, look at Wayne LaPierre from the former lead guy from the NRA. Like he went and just like maimed a bunch of animals in Africa, and the guides had to finish them all off. So it was like
How was the head guy for the NRA a terrible shot and bad with guns?
LaPierre.
Because he's a former Democrat that just saw a honeypot.
I mean, we know the answer. It just it's fishy. It's like not being a gun guy.
The first thing our guides did when we got to G2, like one of our first tasks after checking into our luxurious suites, was we go to the range to zero our rifles. And I put that in air quotes because I was like, yo, you're just making sure that we're not idiots, right? And he was like, yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, that's like down on all the crane hunts down in Texas. A couple of my brother's buddies in the Air Force are new to hunting, so yeah, they showed up with shotguns that just came out of the box.
Yeah.
And like, what chokes in it? I don't know. What's a choke? Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. One of the guys that I was with
Go.
at G2 didn't bring his own rifle, so he used my rifle. So my rifle's taken two one-shot nil guy, by the way.
Put notches in the stock.
I'm going to right after this. I just had a laser engraver, and I'm literally going to put two nil guy silhouettes on the stock.
Do the little nil guy skulls.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm going to.
Is it the same rifle you used to take the pronghorn?
No, this is my 300 PRC. 300 PRC would like turn a pronghorn inside out.
I need to do that with deer heads.
6.5 almost did anyway.
You don't have to field dress it. You just have to cut the meat from the exposed side.
Yeah, you just cut the butthole out of the sage, and you're good.
Oh,
I need to do that with like deer heads, but I just need to engrave them on the side of my pickup. Like I'm a World War II fighter ace.
Exactly.
Should have done that with my van. Oh well.
Yeah. So when we went to the range to 0 in air quotes, I took one shot, hit dead center at the bullseye. He's like, "Yep, you're good." The other guy used my rifle, and then the third guy that was with us, it took like an hour and a half to get his rifle set up.
Mm-hmm.
So, let that kind of inform you as to like people just go to these things because they don't care. Now, I was able, as someone who cares deeply about hunting and learning the ropes, I was able to 100% like use this experience to make myself better in every way. But at the same time, if you don't want to do that, if you just want to go hunt, like fucking go do it. It's a great way to do it. And if you've got the money to do it, I totally think you should. Now, the worst part of all this is that now I have to figure out how to save this kind of money to go hunt nilgai. Fortunately, I'm buddies now with my hunting guide there. I pretty regularly. And I was like, whenever you guys are doing any like culling or whatever, you hit me up. And he was like, dude, you don't want to do this. It's like terrible. We're just like shooting. It's like it's a job.
It's probably like shooting camels to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're just like, yeah, it's just killing and killing and killing and killing and killing and killing.
And the little sociopath inside you is like, yes, and. No, a lot of that does remind me again, though, of doing the crane stuff. Well, first of all, when people talk about canned hunts, Texas in high fence hunting is like an entirely different animal than I think most people freaking imagine. Because the ranch that I went hunting for that Aoudad on, it's like, I think they had I was just looking it up. I think they have a total of like 23,000 acres to pick out of. Like that's bigger than, that's larger than most of that's larger than like a unit in Colorado for the most part.
Well, that's not
4 times the size of the ranch Shawn went to.
Yeah,
it's not a canned hunt. I mean, it's a business, right? And
this is what I'm talking about. That when people talk about high fence hunting, they think about you're on a 20-acre square. That's what a lot of people, at least when they're talking about it, in my mind, that's what they always end up talking about versus being on that ranch for 3 days in a row and not seeing a single damn Aoudad the entire time.
Yeah. Well, you're really at the mercy of your guide. So I did not hunt here, but I was lucky enough to go to Quinlan Ranch in New Mexico, which is a almost 17,000 acre historic like elk migration ranch. Yep. And if your guides don't like 17,000 acres, dude, if your guides don't know what they're doing, you will not find anything. You will not be able to take your $17,000 elk or whatever it happens to be. Like you're going to be screwed. So yeah, like.
Here's another thing to think about. Like if you go on a hunt like this, if your guide doesn't like you, you may not find an elk either.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to be a pompous ass the whole time, like maybe you don't find the animal you're looking for. Maybe you just paid a whole bunch of money to.
Vince, go.
Yeah, what I was getting at was that a lot of these high fenced operations, they're more like a micro-sized environment where there's a business built around that environment that wouldn't exist without the business. And it's built around trying to mimic something that would be actually multitudes more expensive if you went to the actual place or may not exist anymore at all.
Well, nilgai and all those exotics, a lot of them would be just flat out extinct without Texas.
Yeah. I mean, nilgai were brought to Texas in the 30s, I believe.
Well, a whole bunch of those species were, and a whole bunch of
Yeah.
them come from like the Indian subcontinent. A lot of them, especially those ungulate and the antelope, come from like Indian subcontinent, where they're basically extinct there in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
Now they just loam around Texas, like, ooh, this is normal.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, Texas probably similar weather to India. Slightly humid, really hot.
They have definitely taken hold. It doesn't seem like the nilgai have had a whole lot of problem adjusting because I think they were brought to the King Ranch just as like an exotic thing, and then kind of busted out and took control of the land for themselves, which is kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah, some rich fucks is like, hey, he went on his little tour of the world, India. Like, I want one of those for home. Give me 2, please.
I mean, if you just look at latitude, mid to South Texas is on the same latitude as North Africa.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Which
India's
is
a little more.
on same latitude as North India, if I am not mistaken.
You're a little off, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
But how far off?
Oh, good. I'm so glad Wikipedia has a picture of nilgai mating.
That's
Thanks for that, Wikipedia. Really what I needed to see today.
hot.
All right, so
Something
nilgai mating
Roll to
aside,
seduce the nilgai.
I actually had a decent analogy I thought of to explain the difference between a canned hunt and a high fence hunt. High fence hunt would be if a guide took you to Jurassic Park with no fences on the island whatsoever, and the guide knew what species you wanted to hunt, knew the areas of the island they tend to hang around in, and knew their habits and whatnot, and was able to get you a shot on the animal you wanted to shoot.
Yeah.
A canned hunt would be Jurassic Park, go to the T-Rex paddock and shoot a T-Rex.
So it's the difference
If
between
you can find
Jurassic
it.
World and Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
kind of,
That's
yeah.
what I thought of
Lost
immediately.
World, Lost World and
Good
Jurassic
call.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the guys trapping and hunting the dinosaurs in Lost World were the good guys, and you will not change our minds.
Well,
That's part of growing up.
exactly. I'd say that the high fence hunt, at least the one that I went on, and I know there's others that are much smaller. It was like going into Jurassic World and you want a Stegosaurus, and so the guides have to figure out, okay, where's the mating routes of the Stegosaurus, and like where do we have a better chance of finding that and not run into a T-Rex and not accidentally shoot a Brontosaurus in the background. Something like that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting how it's not terribly altogether different than doing what I do down in Texas with Final Descent, which is, it's not, they don't own, it's not all fenced in, but they have all the fields leased, and all the guides do is every night go out and find where all those damn birds are. Again, hustling their asses off to find the birds, to then drive you out to the field and say, set up right here. They should come from that direction, and please don't miss when they get here.
Yeah. I mentioned Quinlan Ranch, the elk place. I took a class there. I didn't actually do any hunting there, but still friends with one of the guides there, and he's like a massive coyote depredation dude. But yeah, like the guides, make friends with the guides because they're awesome, and that's like it's one of those relationships that keeps on giving.
The dude that we have done 2 years down there with, his family has a taxidermy shop in Longmont. And so I said, like, hey, do you tan hides? He's like, no, but we send them off to somebody. It's like, okay, I got to bring you some beaver hides at the end of this year.
Yeah.
Or spit some beavers first.
Do they do birds?
Why would you do that to a poor bird? Are you going to turn a pointer out of one of their legs? Like my brother's buddy? Shawn, I don't know if you know this, but from the previous year, one of Zach's pals that was there took one of the crane legs and had it turned into like a pointer so he can give briefings now to superior officers. It's his icebreaker. It's this crane leg with the 3 claws just pointing outward. And he's like, all right, so, and then he called his taxidermist who did it for him this year because he got a goose and he wanted to have another one made out of a goose leg, and the taxidermist told him, it's illegal to do that to a migratory bird.
Oh,
No,
Well, I think he was.
jeez.
No, I think the taxidermist just didn't want to do it anymore. He's like, nope, I'm not doing it. It's illegal. Bye.
that's fair. That's fair. By the way, yeah, I've also eaten that crane, and it was delicious.
Yes.
Oh, I've still got. I've still got to. I can even break my crane out. I've still got all that goose to get through too.
I am of the opinion that mallard tastes like very small crane.
I'm of the opinion that you're wrong because crane is superior.
Well, I'm sure it is.
Crane's the ribeye of the sky.
Fucking
It
Well,
is
not
what it
mallard
is.
is the tenderloin of the sky then.
It's really
I-
more of no, because I mean they say ribeye of the sky. Crane doesn't have nearly enough fat in it to be a ribeye, which to me is a good thing because I had nothing worse than buying a damn ribeye and watching half of it sizzle out in the pan. Like, all right, well there goes.
That's the best
well,
part. That
folded like
means it's
damn
going to
meat.
be all stringy and like soft and delicious.
Yeah, but
when
you can
it's
get the
done.
same thing from like a decent lean like top sirloin steak. Who the hell whispering in the background?
That was me. Sorry, I'm
Oh.
getting mad at that little.
Sort of screeched
Dumb
out
did.
that. But no, crane is it's leaner and it's perfect because I like a nice like a top sirloin type of steak, not a freaking ribeyes are fine. New York strip is fine, but there does come a point where there's so much damn fat in the thing that it's like great. It's like I hate
Yeah,
buying
if-
T-bone steaks. T-bone steaks are a fucking waste of money because you're buying the day you're paying for the weight of the damn bone.
You know, I hear about all the other things that I haven't had, like elk and moose and nilgai
I want moose
and
so bad.
whatever exotic you can bring up. The thing I want to try the most is probably crane because it just sounds so intriguing. Like
Oh, it's fucking weird,
this
man.
red meat that
Oh
comes
my
off
God, it
the
is.
body of this
Giant-
feathery animal. Like
This giant freaking basically dinosaur bird. Like they look like and they're huge. Like when
Yeah.
you shoot them, when the guide says there's one over top, and you go, all right, fine, and you hook up tall and you shoot it, and then you watch it dive bombing towards you, going, oh shit.
This might hurt.
Yeah, you're waiting to leap out of the blind just in case it
Turns
doesn't
out-
fall in your lap.
turns out that one was Japanese.
There's been a few of them that were
Oh,
Japanese
I'm
then,
afraid.
but no, but it's the goofiest damn thing when you take them back to the barn to get them all breasted out, and then you tear this bird open. It's like that's red meat, and then you cut it out, and you're looking at this crane steak in your hands, and it's red like beef, but it's shaped like a giant chicken breast. It's goofy.
Dude,
wanna
it is
deep fry it.
so fucking
I,
good.
I, I,
Yeah.
I want to deep fry it and like dip it in gravy. It's
I mean, I just cook them the same way I do a steak because, like, screw any other way of cooking them. I just want to eat it like a steak.
Yeah.
You
they're
know,
gut
salt,
steak is
pepper,
great.
rosemary. Off you go to the races. I have found you do have to butterfly the things in half because if you don't, they basically turn in this giant ball, and then you never get the center cooked. That happened to you with you guys, Sean and Mike, when I was cooking them.
It
It's
was
like,
still
oh,
awesome though.
It
was
was.
like
It just you had to take it back to the frying
Could
pan once because it was a
microwave
little rare on the inside.
but what if we
a
deep
little bit
fried
of
it?
salmonella.
Deep fry would be,
I mean, it'd probably be great.
yeah. I mean, everything deep fried is great.
Yes.
So let's see. Mike and Sam, you both have had the nilgai, right?
I have not actually.
Yes.
What?
We talked about getting me some, but then the problem is other stuff kept coming up, and I just that side out of mind.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, so Dave, you need to come down as well and get some.
I do.
Because it's real good. And
It is real good. They
so I
make
got-
real good meatloaf.
I can't even imagine. I got 250 pounds out of that. 250 pounds of usable meat.
Meatloaf, and then your damn children's burger.
Listen here.
So,
Ketchup
I
and
think,
cheese,
guys,
man.
Guys,
Ketchup
I
and
don't think I
cheese.
even had cheese. Guys, I made burgers out of the nil guy, and it's like the saddest looking hamburger bun. I'm surprised it wasn't just a slice of Wonder Bread with a little patty on top and some ketchup. And you did a little smiley face out of the ketchup.
I mean, the dollar McDonald's cheeseburgers have more toppings than what you did.
Poor Mike.
He's like, I just wanted to taste the meat on its own for what it is. It's like, I understand that, but at the same time,
You're still going to
poor
rip on me
animal.
for it, you douchebags.
imagine being caught by a cannibal tribe, and you know, in the afterlife, you look down and realize, like, son of a bitch, they turned me into a Happy Meal.
Oh boy.
So I've been kind of thinking about this whole every kind of little hunting situation that we've been talking about tonight, and I think it's a pretty good summarization of what hunting can be from Sean's ram hunt on 40 acres with an animal that he picked out. I mean, all but shooting it from a rope on a stick. I mean, that's as close as you're going to get, I think. And
Yeah.
then you
Question
go
about
to
the ram hunt, real quick. I'll put it on the back burner, Dave. Keep going.
Okay. So then you step up to the nilgai, which is a high fence hunt, or like Sam's Aoudad hunt.
Mhm.
It's a large area. Like you're not really guaranteed a shot. You have a pretty good chance of getting a shot on something if you have good guides, but you're not guaranteed a shot. It's like hunting on a private ranch, really.
Yeah.
But you have high fences, so the animals, can't get out. And then you step up to like guided stuff. So you have a guide that pays for leases on private ground that only you can hunt on that private ground. There's no high fence, but you can hunt there and you can hunt public too. And then you can like step up again where you don't pay a guide. So somebody and they kind of take you. It's like, hey, you have access, and you're like, yeah, well, I'll fucking share it. You don't charge them. It's not a business. I'm not a guide. And then it's like a DIY hunt after that. I think that encompasses hunting pretty well for guided to canned to and everything in between. I think.
Yeah. I think so too. And like I've fallen asleep on the forest floor with Mike.
Forest naps are the best naps.
Did your butt hurt?
No,
Wait, hold
I
up.
set up a perimeter. We've fallen asleep on hay bales with Sam and Mike. I've hunted iguanas from boats in Florida. I've hunted the antelope in Springfield, deer in Burlington, nilgai in Texas, rams in Utah, and I have come away a better man after every single trip. And when we talk about like the gatekeeping and hunting, if I would have listened to some of that, I would have never had the experiences that I had. Now, like I've been really, really fortunate to have the experiences that I've had, but every single one of them. And Mike, we're going turkey hunting soon. Is that?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Like I'm ready. Well, let's totally do it because I know after doing that, like I'll be a better person.
Yeah.
Even if we walk away with nothing, I mean, like we've definitely gotten skunked, and every single time there's like stuff to take out of it, and it's just amazing.
Do you want to
Vince is holding up his gobble, his turkey call.
I was wondering what that was.
Yep.
I'm actually that reminds me, I might have to. I got a little bit of time before I pick up my kid from school tomorrow. I'll probably stop by the fish store or Shields and look at turkey calls for this trip.
Nice. Yeah. So it's like, you're right, Dave. It is like this microcosm of everything, and just every experience. You can choose to go on these hunts and be elite and look down on them. You can choose to look down on the people that go on these hunts.
Yeah.
But I've gotten something, and again, like I know that some people like go figure it out and they do a much better job than I do. But at the same time, like I've came away so much improved and so much more intelligent and with such a greater appreciation of animals and hunting and conservation in each one of these experiences that I say experience them all. Like go on your elk hunt where you have to hike up and down mountains and through ravines and pack it out and do that, and go take a ram from Big Mountain Hunting Ranch and go shoot a turkey there and like go to a high fence hunt and go walk around the forest and not take anything but have a great time. Like these are all hunting are about experiences. I think it's like it's what this country was built on. It's what our society was kind of built on, and to like do as much as you possibly can and learn as much as you possibly can is like such an important thing.
Do you want to go blast beaver? Because I just realized it's Mike. The 20th and 20th is this weekend. 27th is next. That's our deadline.
Beaver season.
I could probably do Saturday morning.
I can't do mornings. I'm only evenings.
Any case, my question about the.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to add on to what Shawn just
Sorry,
said.
You said that you picked out the animal that you were going to shoot, and you were there with you were out in the 50-acre field with a few other people, right? So their rams that they picked out were also out there. So my question was, did you actually shoot the one that you picked, or were you all out there intending to shoot the one that you picked, or did you just all pick one and you were all like, all right, let's go shoot the one that we can find?
All right, so there were 5 shooters. This was a different situation. Like normally you can pick the ram that you want. It was put on by a company, and so I just kind of showed up and they had picked them all out. So I shot mine. I shot first. Or no, I'm sorry, I take that back. One of the other dudes who was with an air gun company had taken his first, and then they all ran away. And so we had to go find him again. I took the next one, and then one other person we were with shot all the rest of them. Hold on a second. So when I went up, they were along the fence line, and I shot them, and then they ran down the other fence line into the line of fire of one of the other hunters, who literally emptied their entire fucking magazine, and it was like Jonestown. So I had shot mine, and that person had shot all the rest of all the hunters. Literally just unloaded a magazine at a herd and took all of them out. So the other 2 dudes didn't get to hunt theirs at all.
That's fuck. That's that brings feelings to my face.
Is that because you don't stop shooting either?
Like, shut up.
I'm horrified and entertained.
Yeah, it was like
that's awful. Where?
Why'd you keep shooting? I wasn't thinking.
I got excited.
Yeah, so I knew that all my people were walking to my left, and I was at the fence line, so I knew that there was nobody further right. They moved the rams once I shot mine. There was like, I don't know, maybe 4 of them. They all ran to my left. So the second I took my shot and hit, heard the thwap, I was pretty sure that I hit mine. I immediately walked back into my left so that I would not be anywhere in their line of fire. And as I was walking back into my left, I just hear like Mogadishu. And I was like,
barrage of
shit.
fire.
So all the gunfire stops, and I keep walking to my left laterally, back and laterally to where the line of the rams were. And as I just walk up, I come up on this little rise, and there's just nothing but dead rams everywhere. And I was like, oh, you guys got them.
No, you're thinking this is a coordinated shoot. Well, they're like, all right, 3, 2, 1. No.
Only one other person shot, and that person shot all of the rest of the rams.
God, that's terrible.
It was, you get the like, you just like suddenly, all of a sudden, all these rams are like running 50 yards in front of you. Not even that much. It was like 30 yards in front of them. And just started shooting and never stopped till it was empty. Click, 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 click.
So basically, if you're ever in an active shooting situation and this is the person who's about to take down the shooter, make sure you're not standing behind the shooter.
Yeah.
You're going down.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, fun story that I don't think I've ever told before.
No, that's awesome. I mean, not for the other guys, but it's a great story.
I mean, they were the
Well,
ones who organized the hunt. So
they're awfully lucky, that it was it was a private hunt, and they just didn't go like, oh
Yeah.
hey, there's that herd of elk over there. Boom, 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 boom.
yeah, and they were kind of on the fence line, and mine were there. Mine were on a rise, but it was backed up by property that I knew we were good. And I don't know what the backstop of the other ones was.
Well, more rams.
Yeah.
Until you get to a certain point.
As I walked up, I was like, well, what were you shooting into there? Because they were kind of skylined.
Oh, shit.
The nether.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's on the other side? Run away.
But it was pistol rounds. So, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I've heard stories of elk guides that take people out and they'll shoot an elk, but it won't go down immediately. And then they'll lose track in their scope, and then they'll shoot another one, and then they'll shoot another one, and then they'll shoot another one. Like, God damn, it just won't die. And then by the time the guides show up there, there's like, oh, there's 4 elk here. We better get some tags headed this way.
Oh, man. So at Quinlan, they told us stories of that happening, except every animal you draw blood on, you pay for.
Uh-huh.
Oof.
Whether you find it or not. So like there's dudes that are shooting like 4 elk at, $16,000 to $20,000 each because they're like, oh, I don't think I hit it. I must have missed it. And then they find it, half a mile down the trail and it's dead. And then they find another one and then another one and then another one. And so $60,000 out when all's said and done.
Full
You would-
Tiger King. I'm never going to financially recover from this.
Dude, I would literally, you've got a big choice, and that is, how do you feel about killing everyone around you?
I just shot myself a second mortgage.
Exactly. I just bought a truck.
It brings up a really good lesson too, especially for a new hunter, because I know that the game wardens have to deal with stuff like this all the time. Hunters out in the wild shooting elk. Oh, it didn't go down. Is that the same one? I don't know. Shoot again, and next thing you know, you've got a pile of dead elk and a hunter that just shot a million elk and has now vanished and committed a bunch of felonies. When really all they needed to do was keep track of the animal they had shot in the first place, and go down there, wait for the herd to move on, and start looking for blood and tracking it.
Yeah.
Like you take one shot. If you know you hit, if you know your crosshairs were there, then you go start looking for blood. You'll find it eventually. If it's a good hit, it'll die. If it's not a good hit, it'll slow down eventually out of pain, and then you can finish it off.
Yeah.
But don't just what Dave calls me into a herd of elk and shoot a bunch of elk.
I will say that I understand what the other hunter did because I got lucky. I shot 2 rounds. I shot the one that I was aiming at, turned and looked at me, just stared at me while the other ones all ran away. And it was just like, I don't know if it was shocked. And so I was like, well, okay. It's the only one standing there. So I shot again. And the second I cracked that shot off, it took off running. And thankfully I had camera footage. So like I knew exactly which one I shot. But my nil guy, you heard the thwap. Your deer, we heard the thwap.
Yep.
It was, but yeah.
The deeper I shot, we didn't hear a thwap. We just saw it motor its way mindlessly on the shore.
My elk, I don't remember hearing a thwap. All I remember, she was moving too quick. The whole herd was moving too quick, and I had the scope on 10, and it was kind of a quick. It was a hurried shot because I didn't want her to move and turn it into a gut shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I took the one shot and I looked through the scope and she was gone. And my brother was right there. I didn't know which one she was, and he was like, "All right, let's go look for blood." I was like, "Okay." Because, I the crosshairs were on the elk when I fired. She was at 172 yards. So, the crosshairs were on her. Unless I yanked the trigger, I hit her.
Yeah.
And so we go down there, and the blood was bright red in the snow. It was real easy to find her 100 yards away. But,
when you hunt, it's like this, you're out a lot of money, whether it's driving hours, whether it's traveling, whether it's hotels, whether it's tags, whether it's all that. And you really want to accomplish your goal. But the discipline is something that you learn along the way. Like the other hunter shooting 3 other rams that weren't theirs, that taught me a valuable lesson about that discipline. When I took my antelope, I learned a valuable lesson about discipline. Like it wasn't a first shot. It was multiple shots. And that taught me valuable lessons. And like all of these things now, I think that I really can reason myself through taking the shot and then understanding, like, I took the shot that I intended to take. I took the shot I meant to take. And if I go down there and I find a blood trail or I find an animal, like, it is what it is. If I don't, then there's the chance that I just go home empty-handed. And that's an impossible thing to learn until you actually go out and do it. Like, I was slightly ashamed of my antelope because I shot too many times and I got caught up in the moment. And I don't think that I did the responsible thing.
To be clear, you only hit the antelope one time. You didn't shoot the animal multiple times. Like, you didn't wound the antelope. You didn't wound the antelope. It was just you missed and missed and missed and then hit.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that I was lucky in that case because it could have ended up very, very, very different. And
I still feel bad about that.
I did for a while, but like, honestly, I don't now because I understand it's all part of that learning experience. And now I really, truly feel like I have the self-discipline and the experience behind me that I will make good choices now. I wouldn't do that again because I understand what the repercussions could possibly be. And I think that we all like grow as hunters and we grow as people and you learn that discipline because really, when you think about it, like the repercussions are vast and heinous. So like we have to be more responsible, and especially like us that talk about it publicly and talk about like our wins and our losses publicly. Like there are vast, far-reaching implications of making mistakes, but if you don't do it, if you don't experience it, like you'll never learn those lessons. And that's why I say I always come away from all of these hunts a better person because I've learned something from everything. Even when I struck out, like, was it last year or the year before that we like no antelope, no deer?
Yeah,
no
last year.
Yeah. Cool. It was great.
Still had fun.
Yeah, it was blast.
You showed a lot of discipline then too, because we were on antelope, but they took off, and you're like, nope, I'm not gonna shoot.
And that's when I got to learn my lesson the hard way.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Speed
I learned the same
reloads
lesson
with a
the same way.
30-06.
Yeah.
Well, that damn. Well, that's why he has a semi-automatic now. But that
Shut up.
Still only 5 rounds.
and he's like, "Hey,
I got 2 mags.
How many magazines can y'all send me?"
Yes.
I got 2 mags for
$90
reasons.
a piece.
But
I've
that
been
white,
working on my mag changes.
shit. That whitetail buck we saw, you had excellent trigger discipline on that guy, not just shooting him just because I said it was a buck.
Well,
you personally couldn't see that he had antlers on it.
I could only see the back and like, oh my God, we were literally about to leave. It was the first deer that we even could, it was like 50 yards away. And I did not take the shot because I could not identify it for myself. And that was the discipline that I learned in my antelope hunt.
I'm over your shoulder and like, shoot it.
Yeah,
shoot it.
yeah,
All right,
100%. 100%. Like everyone was telling me to shoot. And I was like, nope.
Well, from your perspective, you couldn't see. From mine, I could, but that's how much 1 foot in elevation makes because I was standing upright and you were on a fence post.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt, like on the one hand, I felt stupid, but I was like super proud that I had developed that discipline to make my decision because I'm the one who pulls the trigger. I'm the one who deals with the repercussions, like not you guys. I mean, I'm going to sell you out. Don't worry.
Oh, we just and that was right after we got hit up by the game warden. So,
And I'm gonna be like, yeah, I was pushing him, but he pulled the trigger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that's the thing is like the finality of everything is the person who pulls the trigger. So when you pull that trigger, you better be damn sure of what you're what you're doing and what the repercussions of that is and what's beyond your target and all that because it all comes down to the guy looking through the optic.
look,
So-
officer,
I
know I was reenacting that scene from Ghost with him, but his finger was the one that was touching the trigger.
Exactly.
My finger was on his. We were doing a little grand thumb gayness, but I wasn't touching metal. He was.
Yes.
You were definitely making a clay penis, weren't you?
Yes.
Well, somebody had to.
I do want to clarify the lesson I learned. I unfortunately didn't hit any. Well, probably actually more fortunately, I didn't hit anything in that rampage. I learned, and I felt really stupid afterwards. And the point I want to make here is, I felt bad about that, shooting a bunch and missing a bunch. You felt bad about shooting your antelope in the ass.
Yep.
If we didn't feel bad about these things, we wouldn't have actually learned lessons from them.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. You said you had a question about the ram hunt.
Oh, that was my question: whether whether you shot your own or if you just happened to shoot somebody else's.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I shot mine. At that point, we didn't have a signed. We were just after the herd. So like, I had seen the one. This was not our first interaction with them. In fact,
Did you pet him first?
no.
Did you give him a name?
Here's
Yeah.
a carrot. Here's a little pet. I'm going to kill you in about an hour.
Dude.
I'm gonna eat your heart, Rammy.
Yeah. So, excuse me. I knew the one that I wanted from the Cape,
Okay,
and that's the one I shot at.
nice. Excellent.
Yeah. So it was good there. We didn't have assigned ones or anything like that. But I mean, you could at that place. You could literally pick the one you want and then go take it.
Like spray paint. Sean's. Do not touch.
That'd be dope. Actually, that's a good idea.
Do we have any other important questions for the man?
Vince? Do we have standard questions?
All right,
important
we're not going to
questions.
ask you the Bear Country question because.
Yes, we are.
Well, god damn it.
You have to
We
go
know
to
this
bear
answer.
country, but can't carry a rifle. What handgun and what caliber are you carrying, and why?
The FK Bruno PSD and 7.5 FK.
Easy
Nailed
answer.
it.
Knew it.
Nobody knows what the hell that is, but easy answer.
Exactly. We all knew the answer, and none of our listeners know it.
Like
It's the right
Bruno, isn't that movie with the little
We don't talk
guy?
about Bruno.
Yeah,
I didn't know that answer.
now you do. So I've also got the 10 millimeter barrel and magazines for that. So I will say that sometimes I carry 10 mil, just depends on where I'm going to be and what animals are possible to come across. But the 7.5 FK is like, it's a brutal round.
Mm-hmm.
I came across, I don't know who I talked to recently, but basically, unless it's a grizzly bear, you're not going to run into a bear. I carry a pistol not to defend against four-legged critters, but to defend against two-legged critters.
You say
I've heard
that
too many stories. Listen, I've heard too many stories about hunters, and these are stories from my own family. Hunters trying to take kills, saying this is our deer, and threatening violence in return when you say no, it's not. Yeah. Not just because you're a hunter, you're out there hunting with other hunters doesn't make every hunter out there a good person.
Yeah.
They're out there to get meat too, and
Yeah. Trophies.
Yeah.
I know a guide.
Phrasing.
I know a guide in Craig that has drawn down on somebody trying to take a trophy mule deer. And they gave him shit for carrying this 44 mag single action because his name's Billy, so they called him Billy the Kid. But this fucker drew that bastard at a guy because he was trying to take a fucking like 7x7 muley.
Yeah, that's why the FK Bruno for me like is a good one because bears or bros, like it'll take care of both.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, Mike, is you say you're not if it's a brown unless it's a brown bear, you're not going to run into it until you stumble into a bush where a black bear sow has stashed her cubs.
Yeah, and then I
You're
pop
going to
out
want that
with
pistol in
the
that
spear.
case. That black bear is going to fuck you up.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. And in that case, like, don't walk through bushes that could have bears in them.
I mean, that's easier said than done. What you do is you grab one of the cubs and hold it hostage.
I got your baby. Don't touch me. I got her.
Good.
Put the gun to the cub's head, like, don't come any closer. And then the game warden's like, are you threatening that cub? You're going to jail. Like,
Yeah,
damn
but-
it. I was trying to save my own life.
The record scratches, it zooms in. I bet you're wondering how I got here.
Well, the game warden shows up, and you just need to escalate it because now you want a chopper and $1 million.
He's like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
Then the FBI comes along to cut the power, and you're like, good. I was counting on that.
I was outdoors anyway, no problem.
They block out the sun.
They just did that the other day. Somebody was holding a bear hostage.
Turns out this was all Mike's fault.
Yeah.
The
Usually.
FBI punched in the codes and had the giant saucer move in front of the sun.
Yeah.
Anybody remember The Simpsons where that was Mr. Burns' plan to blot out the sun in Springfield?
No,
The
I only
moon
watched
isn't
South
real.
Park.
I
It
know
didn't
Jeff
happen.
does. Shout out to Squeezer.
Who is scratching his head right now like this motherfucker?
No, he and I loved The Simpsons growing up. He will absolutely get that reference. He probably has that episode on DVD.
He's probably shaking his head because he thinks we're idiots for talking about holding bears hostage.
Yeah,
This is also
I've
true.
noticed every time we talk about these things with him in the show, he just kind of sighs and goes, "Oh man,
Oh no, I'm back. Oh no.
I have to conveniently go pee. I'll be right back. Oh no, I didn't pee long enough. They're still talking.
I'll be back. I have to poop now.
Neat.
Jeff had a bladder the size of a thimble.
I bet you're wondering where Jeff is.
all right,
Well, anyway.
just about cover it."
Yeah, I'd say we can wrap this up, fellas. Shawn, thanks so much for coming and joining us tonight and sharing your story. I think it's really important, especially from a new hunter's perspective. And it's awesome that you shared that with us.
Oh man, I'm so I try to keep my hunting stories on my normal life to a minimum because apparently they're very long. But if I had to say one thing, if there's any like new hunters or people that want to hunt, it's literally just to like go do it and find a friend, do whatever you need to, even if you just have to watch YouTube videos and go do it. Because I didn't want to hunt because I thought that was like the thing to do. I wanted to hunt because I just wanted to see if that was a thing that I would enjoy. Turns out that I freaking love it. And I've talked to other people who are like, yeah, I don't think I could do that, but I kind of want to see. And yeah, like you go take an animal and then you decide after that point, like go do it to see if that's what you're about or not what you're about. And then be comfortable with that choice. Just don't like skip it because you're afraid or because it's complicated or anything. Like it's worth it to know. And I didn't know if I would like it or hate it, but now I know, and I did the right thing.
I'm actually pretty stoked that we managed to get that deer. And so you got to see it basically the entire process, start to finish.
Yeah.
And
In
it
the
wasn't
dark.
like, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, Vince, go ahead.
That's what I was going to say earlier is we talk about all of this and you talk about like the goats and it's not the biggest pin in the world, but it's about knowing where your food comes from. And if you're going to go eat turkey, eat meat of any kind, you can go hunt a turkey, but someone is going to kill a turkey and process it and then sell it to you. And it's just about knowing where your food comes from. And it's all on a spectrum. And if you're going to judge one part of the spectrum as being unsportsmanlike, there's kind of no end to that until we're done eating meat completely.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're at with the Colorado kitty cat hunting thing. That's what we're worried about right now is, okay, they're going to ban kitty cats as trophies. Neat. Now I can't have a deer as a trophy. So I can't hunt deer anymore at all because I could potentially use it as a trophy. Like, where does it end? It's unfortunately, everything they do is slippery slope stuff. It's death by 1,000 cuts. And they're coming after hunting now because hunting is a livelihood of the people that oppose them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's all the slow obliteration of all tradition.
Yeah. Do you think North Koreans hunt?
You mean best Koreans? Don't you badmouth given my presence, sir.
Jesus.
Somebody that rides the bus every day and eats at McDonald's twice a day, like they're not going to understand where food comes from.
No.
The best turkey I've had in my entire life was the turkey that was running around a 50-acre ranch that day that we shot and tracked and shot again, because apparently turkey are basically the toughest animals on earth.
They're bullet sponges, man.
Yeah.
Because
And-
especially we were just talking about this with Mike's brother last week. Especially if they start puffing, if they're presenting and going poof, like there's so much there's so much airspace around that turkey now.
Yeah, it's crazy, and their organs are tiny, and like I hit mine in the head, and it was like, that's cool, and ran away.
You hit it in the head and still missed.
That's like if you ever swing a hoe at a chicken and you take that chicken's head off and it runs away still. You're like, damn it.
So I hit mine like literally like right where the brain should be. And I'm like watching that thing through the scope, and I'm just seeing like this freaking blood bubble like blow up and then deflate and then blow up. And I'm like, oh my God. So like they're trying to get me set up on the tripod, and I'm like, no. So I grab the air rifle and I like go track the blood trail, because I'm like, I'm feeling terrible, right? Like I injured this animal. This animal's scared. It's like running around. It's injured.
You just turned that thing into gobbles.
Yeah. So finally was able to track it down, which was not easy, because turkeys, you don't think that they would be hard to hunt, but they can be.
Yeah.
Gobbles.
Yeah, but also the most delicious turkey I've ever had in my whole life. Like,
oh yeah, I 100%. That's why I want to go get one. Like,
yeah.
It'd be nice to shoot a bird that I can actually eat the legs off of too.
I want to capture cranes and then basically just start my own little crane ranch.
I'm in with you with that.
Like, what's the federal penalty for netting a migratory bird?
I don't care. They're delicious.
You don't have to talk about everything on the podcast.
Oh, right.
This could be one of those shut the fuck up moments. Sam, I wanted to point out, you asked about why you would taxidermy a bird. There's lots of reasons.
I know lots of people do it.
Okay. I wouldn't taxidermy a canned hunt or a high fence hunt bird. I'd taxidermy, like,
why not?
This is advice. Well, this is advice from Jeff as well, especially when it came to ducks. He sent me a picture of a mallard, or I don't know if they call them mallards, but a male pintail in full plumage. And he's like, if you shoot one like this and if you don't taxidermy it, I will murder you. Then
challenge accepted.
So I was like, all right, cool. How much is taxidermy? Like, how much could it possibly cost to taxidermy a duck? Like, what do you have to do? And he's like, all right, well, you have to freeze the duck, and then you have to take it to the taxidermist frozen, and then like they give you a taxidermy duck. And I was like, all right, neat. How much does that cost? He's like, oh, about $400.
Oh, that's not
okay,
bad.
so $50, $75. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, $400 isn't too bad. It's just,
you thought that was going to be $50?
Look, I'm still living in
Are you
1983.
Inflation, bro. It's
Jesus.
Biden's duck economy.
Right.
Dude, Fucking a shoulder mount for a deer is pushing $700-800 now.
What
This
does a
ducking
Euro
economy.
mount cost?
The Euro mount's free if you bury it in your backyard.
Good
A
lord.
Euro mount's free with a powerful enough pressure washer.
That too.
A Euro mount's free with a hot enough boiling pot of water and long enough time.
I
And
dare you
mag-
to do that
Also,
in your
It's also the most
People-
disgusting way to do it, probably.
That breaks it down a little too much. It'll crack and fall apart.
Oh, really?
People also taxidermy fish, so I wouldn't see
Yeah.
where a bird would be that far fetched.
Like,
I got a
I'll be
taxidermy
honest. A
fish
lot of the birds, like even the merg, I was thinking about taxidermy because it was just a pretty bird.
Yeah.
They're like a lot of the birds that I've shot are just gorgeous animals. It's
Euro
incredible.
mount, the merg.
So
Euro mount. Oh my god! Look like a dinosaur skeleton.
Looked a little like this StreamYard logo up there in the corner.
Yeah, and it just the head, just Euro mount the head. It'll be a beak and skull. It'll look like
Just-
a pill bottle.
Just a beak, please. That's all I need.
my grandfather had a taxidermied bass on a plaque. And it wasn't much of a bass, it's just there. But if you push a button, it would sing.
Yeah,
Oh my god!
old Billy Bass.
Should have seen that
There
joke
we
coming.
go. All right, I had to get that one out. So, all
All
right.
right.
Okay, Mike.
Well,
Who's the outro? Oh, Mike. Fine.
This is especially important because we took a buddy hunting, and here he is. Support the hort. Jesus Christ.
Support the horse.
Support the hort.
Oh,
Show
dude,
title
what?
as if we don't have 20. Support the sport and take a buddy hunting. Get some trauma training. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Go Hunt Podcast, maybe. If you're the prick reporting our account, you can kindly fornicate thyself. Let's Go Hunt on YouTube and Reddit at r/Let's Go Hunt Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, tell your friends and family about us. Check the show notes for info on Initiative 91, the ban on kitty cat hunting in Colorado. Thanks for listening, and let's go hunt.
So, steamed white rice, Hiroshima rice, you guys, not Vince. I think rolled to Seduce the bear.
I like you guys, not Vince, because that was awesome.
I also have rolled to seduce, just in general, down at the
Okay.
bottom.
That'll work.
I mean,
And off air. And need to end the stream because I always forget to do that.